Hey guys, it's Kaylee. Welcome back to a new vlog on my channel, or hi if you're new here. Today I have another almost week in my life video. It's a little bit shorter, but it's still quite a long one, so I hope you guys will enjoy. There's a lot of just kind of unexpected drama that happens this week. I'm filming this intro after I've already filmed the whole week. And I was just kind of having some bad luck. I don't know if you would call it luck. Just a bit of a bad time this week, but I feel like I made it through and hopefully next week will be better. I just had several unfortunate scenarios that happened in the span of a couple days. Possibly could have been prevented on my own end, but sometimes things just happen. But I still had a really fun week. I went out a lot and saw so many different friends. New York is really alive and it's so energizing. Today is one of the first gloomier days in a while. I'm getting away with wearing long sleeves. I'm realizing how much of my wardrobe is long sleeve shirts. I really don't have that many tanks and summer items. I just placed an order on the RealReal for a few pieces. Sometimes their prices are so good. I'll have to show you guys in a future video. But I'm taking today to just have a bit of a reset, get my life together after the last week, especially since it's so gloomy. Like I said, I won't be spending much time outside. That brings me to the sponsor of this video, which is truly one of the coolest sponsors I've ever had on this channel. This portion of the video is sponsored by Narwhal. They just launched their Narwhal T10, which is the world's first self-cleaning robot mop and vacuum. It is so cool, you guys. I did not know that I needed this in my life, but it's made such an improvement to my space. I'm super impressed with how smart it is. It has mapped out my entire apartment and there's options to do more thorough or quick cleans. I'm definitely not someone that mopped regularly before just because it can be such a hassle. I feel like even when I've had cleaners come to the apartment, they haven't even mopped all the floors, at least not usually. Now my floors are so clean. The Narwhal T10 does such a thorough job. During a mopping session, the robot actually detects when the mop needs to be cleaned and it takes itself back to its station, does a quick clean, and then comes right back out and it continues its job. It's so cool. And both the vacuum and mopping functions are super quiet. You don't even really know it's there. My puppy is terrified of the regular vacuum, and this, he was a little curious about it first, but now he's totally fine with it, which is awesome. The Narwhal T10 was recently profiled by Time magazine as one of the best inventions of 2020, and they've also been given industry-leading recognitions, including the CES Innovation Award, the Edison Award, and the Red Dot Design Award. So I live in an older Brooklyn apartment with hardwood floors. There's definitely cracks in the floors that my other vacuums have never been able to get dust out of, but the robot has removed so much dust that I didn't even realize was there. Here's a look at the dust bin. It's truly such a simple and user-friendly system to operate. All you really have to do is push a button and then your entire space can be clean. Just a few quick product notes about the Narwhal T10. It has smart mapping and dual paths to prevent secondary contamination. It auto dries the mop to prevent any bacteria and germs, and it's equipped with both a clean and a wastewater tank that are sufficient for up to 3,200 square feet of floor space. You can also create virtual no-go zones for the robot, and in their easy to manage app you can turn on a child lock for your children and pets. So if you guys want to check it out, I will have a link to the Narwhal T10 in the description box down below, and thanks again to Narwhal for working with me on this video. Okay, you guys, I didn't even address the whole speeding ticket situation, but I'm editing this video and I feel like I should kind of explain myself. I just pulled out of street parking on Flatbush Avenue. If you're in New York, it's one of the main streets by the park. It's a busy street. Pedestrians don't cross across the street. And honestly, people do drive really fast down it. But I was in the car for less than a minute. I really think like 15 seconds. I hadn't made it far at all. I don't even know how to describe it. Definitely less than a football field. And I pretty much instantly got pulled over. I was just in complete shock. I didn't think that they were coming for me at first. And I got told that I was speeding and they gave me like a $300 ticket. And I was talking to my boyfriend and he was just trying to convince me that I should fight it with like a ticket lawyer because that's a thing in New York. But I don't even know what happened in the situation. It happened so fast. I also can't imagine that I was speeding in that short amount of time. It's basically street parking where you're pulling out in front of a lot of moving traffic, and obviously you want to match their speed so no one rear ends you or so you don't cause some sort of accident. And I believe the cop was parked like 3 cars in front of me and they just instantly came out after me. Maybe it sounded like the engine was revving and I was being a douche, but yeah, I got pulled over and I still just can't believe that happened. But if any of you park along the park there, that's your warning from me. Good morning, you guys. Welcome to a new day. I'm in my office in workout clothes, currently doing some admin work and also researching doctors for my hand. I mentioned it in a recent video, but I think I'm gonna have to have some sort of wrist surgery or something. I'm trying to find the right specialist to go to, but a lot of you guys have been reaching out to me telling me you've been dealing with the exact same thing, and thank you. It's so helpful to hear from others because I don't know anyone in my personal life that has before, that I know of at least. But yeah, this morning I dropped my boyfriend off at work because we share a car, like I always say, and then I took Laszlo to the park. He was being a very naughty boy. He really just goes through phases in the week where he's like so good, and then he has like one day where he's extra naughty and full of attitude, and I think that day was really today. I was definitely having a bit of a rough start to my morning though, but I came home and did a workout and got a smoothie, feeling a bit better. I haven't had that much of an appetite the past few days, which is very unlike me. I've just kind of been in an off mood, but I'm just choosing to ride it out instead of dwelling on it. Morning. I hope my AC is not too loud. I am about to go into Manhattan for some errands and to get my hair dyed and cut, and I'm leaving Laszlo with a babysitter for the 2nd time, I think, and I hope he's gonna be on good behavior. Here's my outfit. It's super simple, just a black t-shirt. This is one of our old Staatsbella tees. We don't make this one anymore. It's a bit more fitted than the oversized tee, with some gray trousers, this black belt that I got on Farfetch, my green Prada loafers. Here's my new haircut and dye job. I feel like it looks really good. I got some shorter pieces just to frame my face, some layers. I love the salon that I went to so much. I went to Akina at 3 Degrees. I used to go to Akina quite a long time ago to get my roots touched up when she was at Vacancy Project. If you're in New York and on Instagram and a young person, you probably know that salon, but she's been in Japan for most of quarantine, so I found a new salon to go to. Now I'm back with her and she did such a good job at a pretty reasonable price for New York. I feel fresh and fixed now. She thinned out a lot in the back too, and it just feels so much better for summer. I need to give my mirror a clean. This is my look today. I am wearing this Rick Owens one shoulder cotton top. One of my favorite tops for summer. I want to get some more Rick tanks like this because they're just the best. I always find them on sale during end of season sale time. I'm still gonna have my end of season sale favorites linked down below if you guys are interested. I'm just wearing some silver hoops and still testing out some new Staatsbella samples. These are just some black linen pants and they're so comfy. My office is quite messy, so please excuse that. It gets messy in here way too quickly. There's just always a bunch of samples and just random stuff everywhere, especially with doing shipping from home. I just made a smoothie. I did acai, peanut butter, coconut yogurt. I've really been loving adding coconut yogurt to my smoothies lately, with some water and bananas, and then just some mixed berries. And it's so good. I made it a little bit too thin with the water today, I think, but it's still really good. I didn't chat with you guys very much yesterday. It just ended up being a very like hectic, rushed day. I feel like I didn't even really have a chance to breathe. But I went to dinner with some of my close friends last night and had too many spicy margaritas. Here's the outfit I wore because I didn't get a chance to show it. I had like 5 minutes to get ready before the dinner, and I definitely woke up a bit hungover this morning. Hungover enough that I got a street cleaning ticket because I forgot to move the car. Also, when I got back from dinner last night, I came home to my boyfriend on the phone with poison control, animal poison control, and trying to induce last loaded vomit because he got a hold of a cigarette. So we like gave him peroxide. He puked so much. He was so embarrassed. He's totally fine, so that's good, but it was definitely a scare to come home to. I'm kind of surprised nothing like that has happened yet, just because, you know, puppies love to put everything in their mouth. So those are the stories of why I didn't really talk to you yesterday. Today I just have a bunch of work to do at home, have some errands to run. Definitely gonna do a bit of a park day. I have a lot of cleaning I need to do as well, but thankfully I have the narwhal now, which does a lot of it for me. Hello you guys, we are approaching the end of the week. Kind of started the weekend early last night. My boyfriend and I went to Bath House. It's one of my favorite spas in the city. We did a late night like steam and sauna and pool session. It was so nice. This morning I had to go into Manhattan, and Laszlo actually came for the first time, and we did a walk and dog park on the West Side Highway, which was really beautiful. I haven't been over there in a very long time, like probably 2 years at this point with COVID and everything. Yeah, it's just been a nice day so far. Now I'm just getting some work done at home. I think I have dinner and going out plans for later. On one of my recent videos, I asked you guys for topics that you want to hear me discuss. A comment with the most thumbs up was asking me to have a chat about relationships, which is very nice. I'm definitely not a relationship expert by any means. I am going to share some thoughts with you guys on topics that you put in the comments for me. I actually find relationships and just the dynamic of it all so fascinating, so I think it'll be a fun thing to talk about, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. But I have a phone meeting and I need to get some work done on my computer first, so that's going to come a bit later today. And I'll show you my outfit now. Another outfit of the day. It is so hot today, high 80s, so I'm wearing something very simple. It's just this cotton helmet laying dress. I really need to clean my mirror. My dress isn't dirty. I'm actually wearing this necklace tucked in. My hair's in pigtails, which I haven't done for a while, but I'm kind of digging it with the new haircut. And just some silver hoops. Currently barefoot because I'm inside, but I think I would just wear some black sandals. Okay, so now for this chat on relationships, I have some notes written down on my phone from your guys' messages and comments, but I feel like it's more so just gonna be a stream of consciousness, kind of how it usually goes. But in case you're new here, or maybe you just don't know, I'll give you a little bit of background information on me. I've pretty much been a relationship girl for the last six and a half-ish years. I was in a long-term relationship for about 4 years, give or take some. Then we broke up. A few months later, I met my current partner, and we've been together for almost 2 years now, and we live together. So somehow I didn't do that much dating in between. That definitely wasn't my plan. But I also didn't really have a plan. I definitely had like criteria in my head for a future partner, mainly things that I didn't want. Coming out of my last relationship, just from having more experience, knowing myself better, knowing what I want a lot better. But yeah, I definitely didn't go out hunting for a boyfriend. It just kind of happened that way. And I think that's really the best way for it to happen. I feel like there's a lot of beliefs around needing to know yourself really well before you get into a relationship, having a lot of love for yourself before you get into a relationship. But I actually don't really agree with that. At least from my personal experience, I think it can be quite hard to do really like deep work on yourself without being in a relationship, because I feel like being in a serious relationship just brings up any like trauma and issues that you have right to the surface, and you kind of have to deal with them in that way. So much is reflected back to you from having a partner. There's so many things that I didn't even realize like I had issues with before getting into a long-term relationship. Not that you need a relationship or a partner by any means to heal and love yourself. Still definitely a personal journey. I just can't really understand where people are coming from when they say those things. That's just me. But in a bit of a contradictory way, I will say that I think that it's a bit irresponsible to get into a relationship, at least a more serious relationship, not really knowing what you want, not really knowing who you are, unless you're clear on that. And have a partner that aligns with that, because otherwise it can get just so muddy. But yeah, I don't have much to say on meeting people. I feel like everyone uses dating apps now. I'm not against dating apps. I actually met my current boyfriend on a dating app, which I used to feel embarrassed about saying, and I feel like anytime someone asks us, we both just like look at each other and like don't know what to say. But I feel like it's the main way that people our age meet each other. I feel like personally I'm not the best at seeing someone online and knowing if we would mesh well, but once we get in person, I think I have a better idea of it. So in an ideal world, I would meet everyone in person first, but that's not really the world that we live in anymore. I mean, it can be if you want it to be. I would say I don't think you should really have much of a conversation with someone before you actually go on a date with them, because you don't really want to have any expectations. I wouldn't do any like deep stalking either. Obviously make sure they're a real person for safety reasons, but I think you have to wait till you meet them in person to get a real judgment on it. I also got questions on like hookup culture and dating and everything. I don't have that much to say because I feel like I haven't taken part in that in, like I said, like 6+ years. Besides my small break, which I didn't really partake in it then. I don't really believe in all of the rules of like what you can and can't do with someone on a first date. I just like to feel it out and go with my energy. I went home with my current boyfriend on our first date and it worked out great. Actually, with anyone that I've been in a relationship with, chemistry was there pretty fast, and I feel like if it wasn't, I probably wouldn't have stuck around, but again, it's just a personal preference on my end. I just feel like I know pretty quickly if we're gonna click. I do think it's really important whether you're in a relationship or not, but especially if you're single or if you're maybe trying to get out of a relationship that you're currently in, I think it's so important to have a mental list, maybe a physical list of criteria and red flags, deal breakers, because when you are in early stages with someone, especially if there's any like sexual chemistry there, it can be so hard for your brain to realize that there are all these red flags all around you, and then you can get in really deep and just get yourself in a lot of trouble. So it's good to have some mental clarity from the start on things that you won't stand for. I think there are definitely some general ones kind of for everybody, but then there are so many personal ones as well. I'm gonna share a few of mine. Pretty much all of the big ones for me revolve around communication, because that's just so important for a healthy relationship and also for your own mental health. I've really learned that I can't be with someone that I need to like pull everything out of. It's incredibly exhausting. I feel pathetic. I don't want to wish it upon anyone. So I know that I need a man that has emotional intelligence. Selfishness is definitely a huge turn off for me. I feel like when I was younger, I always went for like cockier guys, and I could never now. I think it was always me being attracted to a more like dominant energy, and it took until I was older to realize that that's not a dominant energy. Actual dominant energy is quite quiet, and that's what I like. Lack of direction and goals is a pretty big red flag for me as well as controlling behaviors. None of that. And now for a few personal deal breakers for me. A big one is messiness. I'm not a complete clean freak, but I know that I could never be in a long-term relationship with someone who is very messy or dirty. And that I feel like could be kind of offensive, but again, it's just a personal preference, and it's funny coming from someone who was vegan for a few years. Also, I'm still vegetarian, so I feel like I can't talk that much, but any sort of strict diet, even like strict food allergies, I think is a deal breaker for me. I love food and going out to restaurants so much. One of my favorite activities in life is like trying new restaurants and new foods. Lack of interest in having a family is definitely one. Lack of goals, as I mentioned earlier, just lack of direction in general. someone who's very judgmental, anyone who shames sexuality, mismatched sexual preferences, anyone who's not comfortable with me being a businesswoman, which I feel like that one can actually come out quite slowly and you really have to watch for it. So those are my personal deal breakers and red flags. I'd love to hear some of yours in the comments below. I also got questions on tips for long-term relationships and tips for living with a partner, when's the right time to move in with a partner. As for moving in with a partner, I feel like if you're questioning it, you probably shouldn't, right? Of course it can be like a scary change. It's probably going to be a bit rocky at first, but I just ask yourself why you're even questioning it. Is it because your partner seems like he's questioning it? Is it because you're personally questioning it? I think you just kind of have to do a deeper dive there, because I think it's something that you definitely know about. But also I am just a decisive person about these kinds of things, so I don't know. But as for living with a partner, communication, obviously the most important thing. Still going on dates, still making time for one another, also time for alone time. I think if you can have a space that you each kind of have like your own spaces. And here my boyfriend has an area where he has all his instruments, I have my office, and then everything else is shared, and I feel like that helps so much for someone who really needs her alone time to recharge. You also just have to keep a sense of self as well. A more practical tip for moving in with a partner is to not get a place that you can't afford on your own. I think this is so important, especially as a woman, which the majority of you guys that watch this channel are, I think like 70 to 80%. It's kind of my rule of thumb with most shared finances with a partner, and it doesn't mean that you don't trust your partner. It's just the self-loving and responsible thing to do. You also never know if your partner could lose their income. Anything could really happen, and it's good to know that you're safe. I would never move in with a partner for financial reasons if you can help it. And I feel like there's a lot of that in cities like New York because it's so expensive here. And then I guess for other stuff, it kind of goes in more with just long-term relationships in general. I really believe that relationships should be easy for the most part. I think when you start using phrases like making it work, there's just something going on there, and it's probably only one party who's doing that. I think a really big thing is finding the balance between not being too selfish and not being too selfless, because you don't want to be codependent. Reality is that you're in a relationship with a partner and you always can't come first, and in a healthy relationship it's going to be a pretty equal dynamic. Paying attention to when your partner is trying to connect with you is so important. Maybe you can't be there all the time, but if you're continually denying your partner's requests to connect with you, you're just gonna get further and further away from each other, which is hopefully not what you want. Sometimes it takes effort. I think that's really baseline the most important thing. It's just having like a listening ear, seeing, actually hearing your partner, because life can get really tough, especially when they're becoming your life partner and you guys have all of this stuff that you have to deal with together. You just have to take a step back and remember what actually matters, and that you do love your partner and want to be with them and spend time with them. And then I also got some questions on friendships after long-term relationships, like friendships with an ex. A lot of you guys know I still own my business with my ex-partner, so that's definitely a bit of an unusual situation. I think it's just like a step under co-parenting, so that definitely controls the dynamic from my experience. I think the most important thing about being friends with your ex is just mutual respect for each other, mutual respect for any future partners that they might have, and really just boundaries and being on the same page. I think it's so personal and there are so many different circumstances and situations. I think sometimes it can be super unhealthy. I mean, breakups aren't always mutual, you know? And one partner might be hanging on to the hope that the relationship would come back. So I think it's just really important to be honest with each other, and yeah, honest with any future partners that you have, because respect is one of the most important things. I've been rambling for a while, so I'm gonna wrap this up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you super soon with a new one. Bye!